everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. I hope that whether you are just waking up, you are in the middle of your day, or towards the end, that it's a fantastic day so far. And there is always the 5-minute reset that you can do if your day is not going as well as you had initially thought it was going to, as well as you expected it to. And the 5-minute reset is where you just take 5 minutes to be by yourself. Take more time if you need more time, if you have more time, but take at least 5 minutes to be alone, shake everything off, reset, come back to baseline, remove any sort of burdens that have been hanging on your shoulders, any sort of problems, issues that you have encountered that are kind of troubling you and causing you to not have the best day ever. And then take some time to create a list of at least 4 things to be grateful for. And those things can be big things, small things, middle things. It could be things as random as you got something super exciting in the mail, you finally found the perfect wedding invitation online to order for an upcoming nuptials. Maybe you found a really good plane ticket to go visit your friend and you are allowed to travel there. I know everyone's rules are different, so I'm not here saying don't go places. I'm here saying do what you feel is safest and best and that you're allowed to do. But yes, so you can be grateful for literally anything. You can be grateful for being able to make a yummy breakfast today. You can be grateful for being able to take a walk. You can be grateful for having a half day at work. You can be grateful for just waking up in general. So whatever it is, you can be grateful for, but make sure that list is at least 4 things. Also, if you have time, I would encourage you to problem solve whatever thing is giving you trouble, whatever is causing you to have a bad day, have a rough day. See if you can figure that out so that you can move on with your day and move past this issue if possible. But make sure that by the end of the 5-minute reset time, you are able to walk away and feel at least positive, if not neutral, about the rest of your day, because you want to make sure that you are able to go out there, not pass along your bad mood to anyone else, and just be grateful and have your mindset be changed because of the quick gratitude list that you made, and realize that despite anything bad that's happening to you, you still have amazing things happening in your life, hence the gratitude list. And just remember those things and know that tomorrow is another day. You have the opportunity to have an even better day tomorrow. Maybe today isn't necessarily the highlight day of the week, but you can still enjoy it and still you can at least enjoy it a little bit, or at least stay positive and know that it's fine. We all have rough days and you don't need to throw the whole day away because of that. But again, happy Wednesday. I do actually hope that you're having a fantastic day. And just a reminder that this week we are talking about assertiveness. And today, Wednesday, we are talking about 3 basic styles of communication. And this should be a pretty brief conversation, but I think it's helpful just to go through some comparisons in case you are dealing with having trouble being assertive but not sure, but think you might be assertive but not sure if you're being aggressive or passive. So we're just going to go through a couple quick examples about that so that we will be more ready for tomorrow's episode, which is how to be more assertive. So I hope that you come back for that one, but for right now, let's jump right into 3 basic styles of communication. There are fine lines between stepping over the line and being aggressive, not doing enough at all and being passive, and being right in the middle and practicing being assertive. Today, I want to use some comparisons so that it's easy to understand whether you are being aggressive, passive, or assertive, and just a brief overview of all 3. So let's start with an easy one. If you are passive, you give in to everything someone tells or asks you to do. But if you're aggressive, you take control of the situation and end up being the one telling people what they have to do. But if you're assertive, you compromise. And it is so important to compromise because you don't want to be the dominant one, the aggressive one that's telling everyone what to do and not even taking into consideration how people may feel about that. But you also do not want to be the passive person who is just letting everything slide, just letting people walk all over you, do whatever they want, tell you to do whatever they want you to do, and then do it especially if it's begrudgingly, and maybe it's not even begrudgingly, maybe you think that that's what you're supposed to be doing because you passive people generally think that everyone else is better than them when that's not true at all. So I would encourage you to obviously make sure that you're compromising, taking everything into account, what people think, how it will all work out, and then go from there. But do not be super aggressive or passive. If you are passive, you are constantly trying to keep the peace with everyone and cause no waves. But if you're aggressive, you really are only looking out for yourself. But if you're assertive, you will make sure everything is fair for everyone involved without leaving anyone out. So obviously, I feel like a lot of these are going to be super obvious, but I definitely do want to just like go through each one, just to kind of like think about it. It's just an easy way to be like, oh, wow, you're right. Or maybe you might have some truth with yourself, like some come to Jesus moments where you're like, dang, I've been doing that. I need to switch to the assertive as opposed to the passive or the aggressive. But yeah, so if you're passive, you just want to keep the peace with everyone. You don't want to make waves. You don't want anyone to really notice that you have any sort of opinion. You don't have any sort of feelings on the subject. And I used to be this a lot. I would just want to keep the peace. And it's kind of basically how I lived my life growing up as a child, like in grade school and in junior high school, because I just want to be friends with everyone. When I reflect back on my school years outside of college, I'm always like, when I tell people stories, I'm like, yeah, I was basically Switzerland. I was super neutral. There were definitely some things that I, stuck up for and, stood in the gap for some things and some things that I was really passionate about. But in general, I wanted to be friends with everyone because I didn't want to make any enemies. I didn't want to get into any trouble. Plus, I knew that if I got into any trouble that was escalated enough, and my dad actually did find out, which he was so in the dark about everything that was going on in my life, especially junior high and high school. But I just knew that if it got escalated too far and he actually had to get involved, that it would make my home life even doubly worse than it already was. So I was just trying to be nice to everyone. Plus, I knew as a master manipulator, learning from my father, who is also a master manipulator, and I do not say that in a positive way. It's just, I know that I was manipulating people, but by being everyone's friend, you're able to get people to do things for you. You're able to get people to defend you or get you things or just be by your side or, people are basically like pretending to be your friends, even though you're not really friends, but you know them enough and you know them well enough and you help them enough to have them consider you a friend in some way. So, but I was still passive though. That wasn't like being assertive at all. That wasn't being aggressive because I wasn't like trying to dominate people, but I was also just like not really, doing anything, trying to cause any trouble or standing up for myself, or I was in fear of being rejected. So I was passive. But then also, I don't think that, and if you go to the other extreme of being aggressive, and just like only looking out for yourself, then you're not going to have as many friends. You're not going to have as many people respecting you or on your side. And if people do respect you and on your side, it's mostly out of fear, which is why it's super important to make sure that you are assertive, not leaving anyone out, make sure everything is fair. And I know that not everything in life can be fair, like that's definitely true, but just kind of getting that semblance of that, making sure everyone has an opinion, has a say, and going along with it like that, because you gain more respect and care that way, but also it helps make everyone feel better in general. If you are passive, you tend to allow others to bully you. If you're aggressive, let's face it, you're the bully. Like if you're the aggressive one, you're the bully. But if you're assertive, you will stand up for yourself. And so this kind of goes back to the previous point of, if you're passive, you're just going to let people bully you. You're going to let people step all over you. You're going to let people just tell you what to do, and you're not going to do anything about it. You probably won't even complain about it. And then if you're aggressive, you're the one bullying people. You are trying to establish this strength and power over people so that you feel better about yourself, and to not yourself get bullied in any way, because you're establishing yourself as the bully. You're establishing yourself as the one that's in charge, as the one that needs to be feared. And there's that whole quote, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, it's better to be feared than, it's like something about like being feared than loved, or feared than hated, or something like that. I'm sure you know what I mean. And I didn't research that because that's just really off the cuff right here. But yeah, like, so a lot of bullies, they're going through their own personal things in life. And so maybe you're bullied at home or in another situation. So you bullied in your personal life. So you decide to bully other people because you're learning from what you're going through. So that's what you're passing along. And it's not right, though. It's just, obviously it's not right. Yes. So, you want to be assertive. You want to stand up for yourself, but you also want to do it in a nice and a respectful way, but also in a confident way. You don't want to come down on people, but you also don't want to let people come down on you. Do you know what I mean? So make sure that you take the assertive route and stand up for yourself. If you are passive, it's going to be very rare that you say what you think or really speak at all. Like, you just might be silent most of the times, trying to fade into the background and be invisible. If aggressive, you will speak aggressively, possibly violence will occur, and you will talk over others and not allow them to speak at all. You want to just silence everyone. You want everyone to listen to what you're saying. You want to incite, again, fear, and have everyone respect you because of the fear, and not try to cross you, so that you are always in control and always in charge. But if you're assertive, you end up expressing your point very clearly and with confidence, and also have a balance of both speaking and listening. So the best communication skills that you can have, if you don't know any at all, is to be able to speak when you need to speak and listen when you need to listen. And a lot of times we need to do more listening than speaking, but obviously those people are speaking enough for you to spend more time listening. So yes, there has to be an even keel and go back and forth. But what I'm telling you is that you need to be able to get your point across confidently, but you also need to have the respect to listen to someone else. You need to also be very secure in what you believe and how you live your life, to listen to what someone else has to say, despite the fact that you may disagree with them. Like, that's just real life. And also, you need to be able to get your point across and be confident and speak up and not be afraid to speak, but also don't speak over people and not allow them to get things off of their chest and share what they are feeling. So this is a good one, because the passive and aggressive are very similar, which is very interesting to me. So if you are passive, you will tend to damage your relationships because people end up respecting you less. If aggressive, you will also end up damaging your relationships because peeps don't like aggression, like for reals. But if you're assertive, you end up enhancing relationships because they know you well and know where you stand on most things. So being assertive, like taking that middle approach, is definitely enhancing relationships because, people know who you are. They know what you're about. They know that you have confidence. They know what you're all about and what you believe in, because you speak out about that, but you do it respectively. So they respect you even more because you're not trying to necessarily talk them out of what they're believing, what they're trying to say, what they're trying to get across. And you're also not being overly aggressive and trying to shove ideas and thoughts and commands and whatever it is down someone else's throat, so that all there is left for someone to do is fear them, but still maybe not follow them, maybe not care about them, not even want to be around them. So it's just interesting, though, that both the passive and the aggressive are both damaging relationships because, if you're passive and you're so quiet and you're not really contributing to the relationship and you're letting them, and you're always like that yes person, you're never like, oh, well, I believe something differently, because I believe relationships grow and become better when you learn things from each other, and that it's not exactly the same. Like, I think it would be really interesting if you were in a relationship, whether it's like personal, romantic, or just a friendship, with someone who is exactly your same. Like, I don't know about you, but I know that if I have friendships like that, they're great, but they're also not challenging. They don't grow very well because there's nothing really to grow because you both are exactly the same. So it's fun at times, but in the majority of the time, it's better to have people that you can grow with. Here is a small thing, but I believe it is super important with communication. If you are passive, you avoid eye contact with others. If aggressive, it's more of a judgmental stare, but if you're assertive, you just maintain eye contact. And eye contact is something that I am kind of obsessed with, and it's something that I harp about a lot with mostly people in my family, because I find that most people that I have worked with or that I'm engaging with do give me eye contact, and if they don't, it's not really the most proper scenario for me to be like, hey, can you just look me in the eye while I talk to you, because I haven't really developed a relationship with those people. But regardless, I encourage you to have eye contact when someone is speaking to you or when you're speaking to them. I understand that there's going to be moments where maybe you're like looking off because you're trying to figure out what you're going to say, or you can't remember quite, or it might be a really hard thing for you to get out. But honestly, engaging with someone by having like eye contact just shows it just shows that you're actually listening, you're actually engaged in the conversation, you respect the time that they're taking to tell you whatever it is, and then vice versa. So I encourage you that if you are not already that person that gives someone eye contact when you're talking to them, I understand that in some relationships, like my husband is a regular person who doesn't necessarily give me eye contact all the time, and it's a conversation we have on the regular, and there are times where I don't mind it because I know he's in the middle of something and I have come and interrupted him and I just need an answer really quick. That's one thing. But it's like when you're blatantly like in a conversation and they just won't look at you at all, that's some trouble, and that's something that definitely needs to be worked out, because there needs to be that respect level and them taking the actual time to look you in the eye, to understand and be able to read the whole situation, not just listen to what you say, but see any sort of emotions or facial expressions that are necessary to understand the whole conversation. I know I went a little bit of a tangent on that, but I find that's very important for communication skills. If you are passive, you believe everyone else is more valuable than you are. If aggressive, you tend to hurt others to avoid getting hurt yourself or getting hurt first. But if you're assertive, you value yourself and respect others. Definitely, I was more on the passive side. I always, and I'm even still struggling with that, thinking that everyone is more valuable than me, more important than me. Like, why do I even matter in life? Like if you are having those thoughts, just know that you're not alone. Those thoughts are still things that linger through my mind that I am challenging myself to step back and evaluate and realize those are unnecessary and not true. But it can be really tough. And so, but then if you are aggressive, then like, again, you're the bully. You're the one that's trying to get out there and hurt people before they have a chance to hurt you, because you've already been hurt so much, or you just can't stand to have that pain on top of anything else that you're feeling. So you want to be assertive in your aggression and just get out there and do it first, so that, again, you will establish your respect through fear. But it's much more helpful to you and better to value yourself, love yourself, care about yourself, know that you're important, know that you are in this world, on this planet for a reason. God created you for a reason, for a purpose, and for such important times as these. So just know that you're amazing and you're awesome, and you need to be here. The world needs you for who you are and what you're all about and what you can contribute. And also, respect others. Just respect them. There's no reason to disrespect anyone. There's no reason to hurt people on purpose. Just respect them and respect what they believe, even if it's different from you. This is the last one and my favorite. And if you are not new here, you'll know instantly why it's my favorite. If you are passive, you have soft or no boundaries at all. If aggressive, you can be very demanding but also have hard boundaries. But if you're assertive, you have healthy boundaries that set good limits for yourself. So if you are new here, you may not know that I'm obsessed with talking about personal boundaries. I did a whole week talking about it. So if you are interested in that, you can go check that out in previous episodes. But because it's so important, I feel like so many things can be solved if we all have personal boundaries, because we're setting ourselves up with very super helpful limits. So it helps us give the ability to say no, especially even when we want to say yes, but we know that it'll be too much. So we need to say no. We'll be able to set up boundaries to realize, like, when we cross the line with a certain way of thinking about ourselves and about others. And it's important to have personal boundaries in your life. And so if you are passive, you have soft or no boundaries, which means that you just don't have boundaries. So people walk all over you. You always say yes. You get yourself into trouble. You kind of go down a spiral and you don't even care what you're doing. You don't even care if you're like throwing your life away. It's just because you feel like your life is worth nothing and you're here to do everything for everyone else. And again, if you are aggressive, you can be very demanding, but you can also have hard boundaries, which means that you have some boundaries, but they're super hard. You don't want to let anyone in. You don't want to develop relationships. You just kind of want to like harden your heart against everyone else. And you don't want to do anything unless it's your way and you are in super control of the whole situation. When in reality, healthy boundaries are superb. It gives you limits, but it also pushes you to try new things and be open to experiences and be able to create boundaries for different relationships in your life, because you're going to be able to talk to someone one way differently than you're going to be able to talk to your spouse or your friend or the pastor at your church, whatever it is. So establishing healthy boundaries and setting good limits for yourself, chef's kiss, amazing. So that's it. That's all I have to say about comparing being aggressive, passive, and assertive. I hope this was super helpful and interesting to really like go through those comparisons. And again, maybe you are able to have those honest moments with yourself and realize, man, I am doing a lot of those aggressive things or a lot of those passive things or a combination of those. Or maybe you're like, hooray, I'm actually doing a lot of those assertive things. That's great. That's amazing. You're on the road to success. And I still encourage you to listen tomorrow for how to be more assertive or how to be assertive in general. But yeah, I just feel like it's kind of like another quiz, but really just like an evaluation of like, where am I in these certain things? And there's many more examples that I could have gone into, but I didn't want to keep you here all day. So again, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Please check the description box for notes for the show. Also, I encourage you to come say hi to me on Instagram, which is at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. I would love it. Drop me a DM, maybe leave a comment, or just come say hi. That's all. That'd be great. Also, you're welcome to visit my website, which is sabrinajoy.com, and my email address is in the description box for you to send any questions, comments, concerns, or prayer requests you may have. But thank you so much for coming and listening to this episode. I hope that you listened to the 2 episodes prior for this week and the 2 more episodes left for this week. But until next time, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.